We didn't say no. We were walking on the. He was like hooker, and then we was like, you know, I'm not gonna sit there and let you call me out of my name.
So he called you first.
He pulled out a freaking gun.
He pulled out a gun.
A shotgun. He pulled his gun, pointed it at my face.
Okay.
Yeah, there, y'all need to do something.
Oh yeah, you need to chill out.
Okay? I just asked if I could go next door. And
you need to chill out.
Kids.
You need to chill out because now you're gonna be arrested. Keep screaming again.
I'm freaking out.
Second time.
When my life was just threatened and my daughter's sick, I just want to go
Are you
next
gonna
door
continue
and charge
screaming?
my phone. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Do not record this.
I am. What the? Why?
What in the world happened on this radio call? Two ladies get in a dispute with one of their neighbors, alleging that during the dispute, the neighbor pointed a gun at them. They call the police for help, but during the interview, the police end up arresting one of the ladies, Dyma Loving, for disorderly conduct. One policing shortfall in this incident came in the form of witness interview techniques. In this episode of the Force Review, we're going to focus on witness interviews. We are going to talk about what police could have done better in this situation, as well as best practices for police witness interviews. So stay tuned for episode 17 of the Force Review because it's packed with content. March 5th, 2019, Miami, Florida. Adrianna Green and Dyma Loving had just been in a dispute with their neighbor, Frank Tumm, alleging that during the dispute, Mr. Tumm had pointed a shotgun at them. Miami-Dade Police Detective Alejandro Giraldo is one of the officers dispatched to the incident.
Alright, so which one of you called him a
I did. I think he called
You
me
did.
a hooker.
So who lives there?
Me.
You live there, and that's your friend?
Yeah, I live next door,
Next
not
door.
there.
They live next door.
He called me a hooker. He's
First?
been calling me a hoe. We didn't say
We
anything.
didn't
You
say
didn't
no.
say
We were
anything?
walking on the. He was
Okay.
like
Alright, that's fine.
And
That's
then
fine.
and then we was like, you know, I'm not gonna sit there and let you call me out of my name.
So he-
Especially
so he
you've been
called you
doing it the
first.
past few days, and no, that's
Okay.
not cool. Like
How
he's
come
sitting
you-
here in his
how come
yard.
you haven't called the police fine?
Why am I gonna call the police for him calling me names? I'll just take my ass in the house. But he pulled out a freaking gun.
He pulled out a gun.
he pulled his gun, pointed it at my face.
Witness interview step 1. Separate those witnesses. You do not want witnesses to be able to hear each other when they're giving their statements. There are two reasons for this. Number 1, you don't want the witnesses to interrupt each other. Number 2, you don't want the witnesses to influence each other. This is especially important when the witnesses are friends. Naturally, friends will want to back each other up. They won't want to make statements that cast each other in a bad light. Separating the witnesses and getting individual statements helps alleviate some of this problem. Also, friends will not be considered independent witnesses in court. They have that natural motive to back each other up. This will shed suspicion on their testimony. But if the witnesses are separated and their statements still closely align with one another, this will help alleviate some of that suspicion and corroborate each witness's testimony.
Okay.
Yeah, I
They told me he was gonna shoot
didn't
me,
get a chance to
and
check
I
it.
didn't even got nothing to do with it.
What color was the shotgun?
I just saw the black barrel. It was
Black barrel?
long.
It's
It's long.
It's a shotgun.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the question that officer just asked right now. He asked what color the shotgun was. The reason he asked that question was to try to corroborate the witness's testimony later. If he finds Mr. Tumm's shotgun and it's as described by the witnesses, this will help corroborate their testimony. But when using this technique, the key is getting details. Let's say the only detail the officer asks for is the color of the shotgun, and they say black, and then the shotgun turns out to be black. Well, this does help corroborate their testimony somewhat, but not much. Black is a very common color for a shotgun. He could also ask, what color was the stock? What color was the barrel? What color was the slide? Did it have a stock? Did it have any rust, engravings, stickers, tape? Any unique detail that proves that they saw the shotgun. But by not separating the witnesses, you diminish the effectiveness of this technique. Let's say the officer had separated the witnesses, and independently, they both described a black shotgun with a brown stock and a sling. At that point, I would say beyond a reasonable doubt that both of them saw the shotgun. But if you get the same description via a collective statement, I would still have doubts.
Hear me out. So, he called you a hooker. You call him
Called me.
faggot.
He called me a hooker. He
And-
was like hooker, and we was
Okay,
like,
but what I'm trying to figure out is at which point you actually stay on scene just to go to battle with him.
We did
It
not stay on
happened
scene. We
fast.
were
Give me one
walking down
second.
the street.
I'm asking her. Give me 1 second. Y'all screaming over here. Well, I'm trying to figure it out.
we're not. It's
Okay,
not.
hear me
We're
out.
not trying to scream. You know, we're
Okay.
like.
You're
It
just,
doesn't matter.
I get it. You're
Yeah.
reacting, but
No.
He gets it. Why can't you get
No,
it?
no,
I don't
I
like
get
to
it, but
explain that.
I don't like the tone of voice.
Like we're
Okay.
trying to explain.
So now,
Stop talking.
okay, so now, so he calls you a hooker. You called him a f***it, at which point, if you see him going back inside the house.
He didn't go in the house.
He had that shotgun with him already.
He already, I don't know. All I know is he bent down, picked it up, and told me he was going to shoot me in the f***ing head. That's what he told me.
Let's pause it right there for a minute. It's clear that the officer doesn't have a good understanding of the lady's statements. He's trying to repeat their statement back to them, but he's getting key details wrong. A thorough witness interview involves a two-step process. Ideally, you're going to get that witness's statement twice. The first time you get it, you're going to ask one question. What happened? Then the officer should just let the witness talk without interrupting them. During this first statement, the officer should not write anything down. He or she should just listen. There are two reasons for getting the initial statement this way. First, it allows the officer to get a statement that's free of influences from questions or statements that the officer may make to the witness. Second, it allows the officer to get an overview of the situation. It allows them to start thinking about questions they need to ask or actions they need to take. After this initial statement from the witness, the officer is going to get a much more detailed statement. This second statement will take much longer. The officer should go through the witness's statement step by step, getting as much detail as possible. The officer should also write down the witness's statement step by step. For you newer officers, this is a pen. This is an FI card. On the front, you fill out the witness's information, name, date of birth, address, and so forth. On the back, you take their statement, step by step. And don't try to fit the whole statement on one card. If you do a good interview, you're probably going to need more than one card. If possible, take their statement at the scene of the crime. This will assist with your understanding of their statement. Have them show you where they were standing, where the suspect was standing. This will help facilitate your understanding of distances and other evidence factors like video cameras. If something doesn't make sense, don't just gloss over it and keep going. Continue to ask questions and do the best you can to figure out what's going on. And if you're writing something down and they keep talking and you can't keep up, just ask them to pause for a moment so you can write. Often, while you're taking a witness's statement, they'll draw your attention to a piece of evidence. Maybe the suspect left a coffee cup or a shell casing nearby. If that happens, pause the statement, collect the evidence properly, and then move on. Once your statement is done, get a good suspect description. This involves pulling out another FI card, putting suspect number 1 at the top, and going through all the boxes. Gender, age, ethnicity, hair color, eye color, clothing, tattoos, etc. Once all that's done, consider what a suspect may say to justify his actions. In this case, I would say that Mr. Tumm could maybe say that one of the ladies pulled a knife or weapon out on him, and that's why he had to pull out his shotgun. To mitigate this defense, you could ask the ladies if you could search them. If they don't have a gun or a knife, Mr. Tumm will not be able to raise this defense. Okay, let's move on.
It happened.
He
fast.
never went in the house.
Never went in the
He
house.
never went in the house.
You saw it right there.
So
He
he
Bent down. He has a bunch of trees.
So that detail right there, that Mr. Tumm had bent down and picked the gun up off the ground rather than go in the house and get it, that's one of those details I'm talking about that could have corroborated Ms. Loving and Ms. Green's statements if they had been separated. But that corroboration is lost since they're giving their statement together.
All we
like
know
that.
is he turned and came up like this.
Okay, give me a sec.
He was in the fence the whole time. We were right here. Like, is there cameras out here that can prove this? There's street cameras. There's
Okay, where are they?
I don't
He
know.
got cameras saying he got cameras. It's a camera right there. Y'all need to do something.
Oh yeah, and you need to chill out. Okay.
I just asked if I could go down next door and
You need
call
to
my
chill out.
kids.
You need to chill out because
Excuse
now you're gonna
me.
be arrested.
Excuse me.
You're being disorderly right now.
I'm asking.
You
I'm talking to
are
her.
gonna be arrested.
I'm talking to this lady.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one more chance. If you don't calm down, I'm gonna bring you in.
I'm calm. I'm calm. I just want to go talk to my kids. I have a very important phone call.
Okay.
I just asked if I could go next door and charge my phone. My daughter is sick. I don't have time for
You're
this.
screaming again.
I'm freaking out.
Second time.
Okay, two things here. The first one is patience. The patrol officer should have a fair amount of patience, especially for victims of serious crimes. Ms. Loving has just been through a traumatic event. If she raises her voice a little bit, so what? The second thing here is priorities. Ms. Loving brought up her daughter being sick. The officer should inquire about this. Is this something that needs to be addressed right now? Whatever is going on with Ms. Loving's daughter may take priority over getting her statement. Just like we talked about earlier about pausing the statement to collect evidence, same thing here. The officer should pause the statement, address the issue with Ms. Loving's daughter, and then move on.
Okay? You are acting disorderly. You will be arrested.
Florida Statute 877.03. Disorderly conduct. Whoever commits such acts as are of a nature to corrupt the public morals or outrage the sense of public decency or affect the peace and quiet of persons who may witness them, or engages in brawling or fighting, or engages in such conduct as to constitute a breach of peace or disorderly conduct, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor of the 2nd degree. The language of the statute is a little vague, so let's go to the jury instructions. To prove the crime of disorderly conduct, the state must prove the following element beyond a reasonable doubt. The defendant committed an act or acts that was of a nature that corrupted the public morals, or outraged the sense of public decency, or affected the peace and quiet of persons who witnessed the act or acts, or engaged in brawling or fighting. I don't think that Miss Loving corrupted any public morals, or outraged anybody's sense of public decency, or engaged in brawling or fighting. I suppose she may have affected the peace and quiet of the officers. However, the Florida statute must be carefully balanced against Miss Loving's First Amendment rights, the right to free speech, and since it comes from the U.S. Constitution, the First Amendment supersedes the Florida statute, and at the end of the day, Miss Loving is simply arguing with the police officer. I doubt the legislators had the intent to criminalize this sort of conduct when they created the statute, but it's precisely the sort of conduct that lawmakers sought to protect when they created the First Amendment. If Officer Giraldo wants to maintain his sense of peace and quiet, all he's got to do is walk away. Thus, in this case, Miss Loving has not broken any laws.
Okay? Get it right. Okay, we're going to help you out.
We're
going to help you out.
Listen, we're here to investigate. Just calm down.
You know what? She needs to be corrected, if anything.
Calm down.
All right?
Why do I have to be corrected when my life was just threatened and my daughter's sick? I just want to go
Are you
next
going to
door
continue
and charge
screaming?
my phone. Do not touch me. Do not touch me. Do not touch me.
What
Do
the
not record
heck?
this.
I
Do not touch
am.
me.
What the?
Do not
Why are you
touch
doing that? Why are you doing
Do
that?
not touch
Why are you
me.
doing
Do
that?
not touch me.
She's
I
not
just
doing
said
nothing.
I wanted to call my kids. I just said I wanted to call my kids. My phone is dead. What do you not understand? I got a gun pointed in front of me, and my kids is sick. I'm stressed out. I need to go call my children.
Miss Loving is arrested, but the charges are eventually dropped. After that, Officer Giraldo is eventually arrested, charged, and convicted of the false arrest and falsifying reports. Mr. Tumm is also eventually arrested, but no charges are ever filed against him. Here's what he had to say about the incident.
I'm innocent. I'll tell you the truth.
No weapons. You didn't have a weapon.
Yard and look where they said I pulled the gun out. You can't even see where they were standing at the corner. My whole yard is a jungle. You see my yard. You can't even see out my yard.
Miss Loving has filed a lawsuit against Officer Giraldo and the Miami-Dade Police Department, seeking damages in excess of $75,000. And that is it for episode 17 of the Force Review. Please subscribe and pass on this video, and help the Force Review improve the profession of American policing. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.